If you are looking for a DPS with massive physical damage and some really cool animations, then PHAINON might just be the answer. After reviewing the version 1 beta kit that's currently available, it seems like PHAINON's kit is not too far off from the video I made previously. However, of course, it would not feel right if we didn't go over the kit of a character who's just as hype-worthy as the other two collaboration units. In this video, I'll be discussing his skills, ultimate, traces, technique, eidolons, and also his signature light cone. Without further delay, let's get started. According to the official drip marketing, PHAINON is a limited 5-star character with the physical element, following the path of destruction. Just like Castoris, Facial, and Acheron, PHAINON does not use energy to cast his ultimate. Instead, he uses a special mechanic where players must collect a stack called Core Flames. These stacks can be gained through several parts of PHAINON's kit, ranging from his skill to his traces. He can also obtain Core Flame stacks when allies target him with a skill or ultimate. Once enough Core Flame stacks are collected, PHAINON can unleash his ultimate, pulling enemies into a special territory and temporarily leaving his allies behind. During this phase, PHAINON gains multiple actions and can eliminate his enemies in the blink of an eye. PHAINON has a base attack of 562 and a base speed of 94. The bonus stats from his traces include crit damage, crit rate, and speed. To understand his kit better, it's best to start by breaking down PHAINON's talent. As previously mentioned, whenever an ally targets him with a skill or ultimate and grants him a buff, PHAINON gains 1 Core Flame stack, and this mechanic plays a vital role in enabling his ultimate. He also gains 1 Core Flame when hit by enemies. He can stack up to 15 Core Flames, with 3 extra stacks able to be stored beyond the limit. When PHAINON is the target of an ally skill, his crit damage increased by 30% for 1 turn. Once he reaches 12 Core Flame stacks, he can activate his ultimate. Now, as for his basic attack, there's nothing particularly special. He simply targets one enemy and deals physical damage. But his skill plays a much more important role in setting up his ultimate. It targets 3 enemies, deals physical damage, and generates 2 Core Flame stacks. Now that we understand what Core Flame is and how it connects to PHAINON's ultimate, let's dive into the ultimate itself. PHAINON's ultimate can be activated once he reaches 12 Core Flame stacks. When used, PHAINON and all enemies are pulled into a special territorial zone. His appearance changes and he leaves his allies behind, meaning they can no longer take action during this phase. He fights alone. While inside this territory, all enemies gain physical weakness, and PHAINON does not operate on a normal turn cycle. Instead, he gains 8 extra turns, inserted in the action bar, each with a fixed speed of 60% of his base speed. So his main source of damage comes from these turns. When all of its extra turns are used up, PHAINON unleashes a final blow, dealing 690% of his attack as physical damage evenly to all enemies, then exits his transformation and leaves the territory. There's more you should know about his ultimate. During this form, PHAINON gains 2 special skills and 1 enhanced basic attack, all of which consume a special stack called Scourge. For your information, PHAINON starts with 4 Scourge stacks when activating his ultimate, and these replace skill points. So while in his own territory, he won't consume SP, only Scourge. While in transformation mode, any buffs his ally gave him before entering the form will have their duration extended by 1 turn. He also gains several powerful self-buffs, including crowd control immunity, 80% attack, and 240% max HP. Each time PHAINON attacks in this mode, he also recovers 20% of his max HP. Even though he fights solo, PHAINON cannot be knocked down by a final blow during this form. Instead, he recovers 25% of his max HP, but is forced to immediately launch his final blow, ending his ultimate early. This comes with a drawback. For every unused extra turn, the damage multiplier of his final blow is reduced by 12.5%. After PHAINON's ultimate ends, all allies will receive a 15% speed buff for 1 turn. As for PHAINON's enhanced basic attack, it targets 3 enemies, dealing 250% physical damage to the main target and 75% to adjacent enemies. Using this move will also generate 2 Scourge stacks for PHAINON. Now let's talk about his first enhanced skill. When activated, PHAINON will force all enemies to take their turns first, gain Scourge stacks equal to the number of enemies on the battlefield, and receive one stack of a special buff called Soul Rending Blaze. This buff reduces his damage taken by 75%. While in this counter state, if PHAINON is attacked, he gains one additional Soul Rending Blaze stack and triggers a counter attack, dealing 40% physical damage to all enemies, followed by 4 additional strikes, each dealing 30% physical damage. Once this full counter attack sequence is triggered, all Soul Rending Blaze stacks are consumed. It's also important to note that each Soul Rending Blaze stacks not only reduce incoming damage, but also boosts the damage multiplier of his counter attack by 20% of the base multiplier. Also, these counter attacks count as skill damage, not follow-up attacks. And what about his second enhanced skill? When you use it, PHAINON will dispel all the buff from himself and deal a massive physical damage based on his attack. For every one Scourge attack consumes, he also triggers 4 instances of physical damage to random enemies. However, if PHAINON managed to consume all 4 Scourge stacks at once, he will launch an additional finishing move that deals 450% of his attack, distributed evenly among all enemies. So in total, you will only get the full multiplier if you successfully consume 4 Scourge stacks. He's got so much packed into his ultimate that it makes him a versatile unit, whether you are dealing with single target bosses or multi-target enemies. PHAINON has the tools to handle either scenario effectively. Enough about his ultimate, now let's move on to his traces. For his first trace, when PHAINON exceeds his territory and his ultimate ends, he will immediately gain 3 core flame stacks, helping him charging up his ultimate faster. This is extremely helpful since upon exiting his form, PHAINON does not get immediate turn. Next, for his second trace, whenever PHAINON receives a shield or healing from an ally, he gains a 40% damage boost that lasts for 4 turns. And if you recall from his ultimate description, all of PHAINON's self buffs gain 1 turn duration, which means this damage buff will last even longer when activated during his transformation. But there's more. If an ally provides energy regen to PHAINON, he will gain 1 core flame stack. This effect has no cap, so for example, if you advance his turn with Sunday and then give him energy regen through Sunday's ultimate, PHAINON can generate 2 core flame stacks from that single interaction. Now if you are wondering what is his last trace is all about, upon entering battle or after his ultimate ends, PHAINON gains 50% attack, which can stack up to 2 times. As for his technique, it works very similarly to EIDOLONS. PHAINON can also instantly kill enemies in the overworld without entering the battle. However, unlike EIDOLONS, PHAINON's insta-kill is AoE based and consumes 2 technique points. This is balanced out by a bonus. If PHAINON is in the team, the max technique points increase by 3. And then when entering combat via his technique, all allies recover 25 energy. Also, when PHAINON enters his territory for the first time, he immediately gains 2 additional Scourge stacks. Let's break down PHAINON's EIDOLONS, and yes, they definitely push his power even further. Eidolon 1, during his transform state, PHAINON's speed increased to 72% of his base speed, up from the default 60%. On top of that, when his core flame stacks reach the maximum cap, his physical rest span increased by 15% for 2 turns. And then for the second one, all of PHAINON's attacks during his ultimate now deal 120% more damage, massively boosting his burst output. If you consume all 4 Scourge stacks when using his second enhanced skill, PHAINON will also gain an extra turn, giving him more time to clean up enemies before launching his final blow. As for his Eidolon 4, whenever PHAINON uses his enhanced counter-attack skill, he now gains 4 extra stacks of Soul Rending Blaze. That means much bigger damage multiplier boost to his counter-attacks. And finally, PHAINON's Scourge cap increases by 2, allowing him to store more of those special stacks for a longer sequence. Additionally, using his enhanced counter-attack skill or enhanced basic attack will now generate 2 extra Scourge. Using his second enhanced skill will deal 20% bonus true damage on top of the regular damage. When a destruction character equips this light cone, their base speed increases by 12 points, and they also ignore 18% of the enemy's defense when dealing damage. Additionally, upon using their ultimate, they gain a special buff that increases their damage dealt by 60%. This buff lasts until the start of their next official turn. Now here's where it gets really good for PHAINON. If Even though he takes 8 actions during his ultimate, those are considered extra turns, not part of his main turn cycle. So the damage bonus from this light cone remains active throughout all 8 actions, making it extremely easy to fully capitalize on the buff. So for now, it seems like PHAINON pairs best with supports like Sunday. Both Sunday's skills and ultimate align perfectly with the requirements set by PHAINON's talent. On top of that, Sunday also provides energy restoration, which helps trigger one of PHAINON's traces. If you don't have Sunday, Bronya also works really well thanks to her similar functionality. Tingyun, Hanya, and even Sparkle are also great options depending on the setup. As for sustain units, Huaho stands out as a strong choice since her energy regen contributes directly to PHAINON's core flame stacks. That said, any abundance unit can technically work, especially Gallagher, if he uses the light cone shared feeling, which restores team energy when their skill is used, further fueling PHAINON's rotation. Now let's be real, PHAINON is an incredibly powerful unit. Once his ultimate is active, he can erase enemies in an instant thanks to massive damage multipliers. His kit is packed with strong self-buffs, from huge attack boost to damage bonus. Because he leaves his team behind in his personal territory, any buff they give him get extended by 1 turn, and he can even heal himself as he fights. He's also an amazing pick for late game content like Memory of Chaos, not just because of his raw power, but because he can inflict universal physical weakness on all enemies. And let's not ignore it, his skill and ultimate animations might just be the best in the game right now. But of course, he's not without weaknesses. Even with 8 extra actions, PHAINON suffers from action value issues. Those extra turns are only a percentage of his base speed, and he fights completely alone during that time. He's also a skill point negative unit. You will want your entire team dumping their skills on him. And while he uses his own Scourge stacks inside the territory, the team won't generate any SP while he's isolated. And that's the complete breakdown for PHAINON version 1. What do you think about PHAINON's kit? Do you like how he plays, or maybe you're not a fan? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks so much for your time, and I will see you guys in the next one.